And then Patrick Bennett and Mark Cadmore in 21st and 22nd. And bringing up the rear is Alistair Hay. Not long to go now, Nick. The anticipation building. Looking forward to what's hopefully going to be a great night of racing ahead of us.
Absolutely. So we're just waiting for the lights now. These guys all rearing and ready to go. They would have been practicing for this all week, looking to get themselves in a premium position for qualifying so that they can sprint off at the start of this race. A lot of the usual contenders at the front with Lamy, Bell and Petty and Lucia, as you just said earlier. This is going to be a fantastic night of racing, just as we've seen before. Wheel-to-wheel action, hopefully. There was some great moves into turns such as McLean's at Donington, places that we weren't expecting to see those kind of overtakes. So hopefully the guys will continue to surprise us with the talent that we've got on the grid this evening. And here are the lights. And we're lights out and away we go. Formula 3 UK iRacing League is go. We are away. We've got cars all over the place at the back of the grid. We've got one spinner, one guy in the wall. That looks like we've got one car out already. I didn't see who that was.
Webb, I think that is Nick and Davis.
But we're going to watch the front of the pack now as they come into the 90. They're going up the S's. It looks like we've got a nice clean race at the front of them. And it looks to me, it's that Lamy that has absolutely run away with it at the start. And then we've got second, third and fourth with Bell, Petty and Lucia all fighting there as they enter the straight. They're going to be going 3 wide here. And then we've got cars behind as well that are also going to be bringing up an incredibly tight pack as they come into the outer loop. Right-hander here with Lamy sprinting ahead at the minute, looking incredibly comfortable with the guys behind him, you know, causing each other a lot of trouble, going side by side, hitting the grass there. That's going to cost some time for the guys in second and third. Now we're going to go back here to look at Carl Cranswick. Carl Cranswick seems to be doing okay in the middle of the pack at the minute. Not seeing too much action from Carl at the start of this race, but he's right in the thick of it there as they come up into the toe corner, right-hander, before they go on to the next straight section where slipstream might be available to them to make an overtake here. It's a shorter straight, but there's still plenty of action to be had. So we've got at least 5 cars side by side here as they go into that final right-hander of boot there, that final heel, sorry, for that final section of the boot, so to speak. Now this is looking incredibly tidy here as they start to come towards the end of their first lap. A nice row of cars starting to form. They're not running side by side and bumping rubber as they were earlier on in the S's and up that straight into the outer loop, Tim. So actually incredibly tidy so far, and Lucia having dropped back almost 8/10 now from Lamy at the front of the pack, with Petty only 4/10 behind Lucia. So there's going to still be a really solid fight at the front of the pack as we go back to them now as they're heading up the S's. So once again they're going to be looking for a slipstream maneuver heading into the outer loop. It does look like Jerome Lamy now being caught by Lucia. I don't think it's going to be enough here in this particular run up the straight, but hopefully as we look further on into the race, we'll be able to see Lucia try and make a move. There's also Gavin Petty there looking to make up for the performance last time after he didn't manage to finish the race after that unfortunate accident in the last few laps. And now Tim, I think we've really got a race on our hands. Look at these guys.
Oh, definitely. One battle I'd really like to get a closer look at is the battle around 5th, 6th, 7th for Mason, Cockram and Rowlands. But to be fair, all that sort of area, they're all really, really close together. I've just been watching off camera, Nick, that Aberdeen, Wilson and Cranswick have all been trading places left, right and centre, swapping positions at battle over 8th place, so at 9th and 10th respectively. It's what we come to expect of F3s, Nick. Absolute wall-to-wall action. Absolutely brilliant first lap, and the driver's making a great move. We've got contact. Let's contact. It's Lee Aberdeen, Nick.
Lee Aberdeen.
Lee Aberdeen, one of the people who we singled out to really watch early in the race, Nick.
We're going to watch this back now.
That's Wilson just coming up behind him there.
It looks to me like Aberdeen's lost it on his own there. He's caught the grass on the outside there, and that has just cost him his entire race. That is a shame. Now Aberdeen, again, one of the guys that actually had an accident at the early phases of the last race and had to claw his way back up the grid with an absolutely heroic effort. He was doing sub 1 minute laps when he was on Donington, which is the fastest that we were seeing out of a lot of the guys. And as we see now, we've got Gavin Petty
and Bell,
looking to make the manoeuvre.
Bell just showing the front end of his car there, Nick. Not quite being able to utilise the slipstream there. I think Mark Cadmore's had an accident off screen somewhere. We'll see if we can come back to that in a minute. As the battle sort of resumes, really, between these two. Only 2 tenths of the second between them, Nick. And just in front of them, we've only got Matt Laubser, who's, again, only 2 tenths. So it's just round about just under half.
Oh, he's on the inside of him. He's just turned him round.
He's turned him round, Nick. No, Nick Bell's fallen down the order. He's dropped down to 6th, 7th, 10th place now, Nick. Let's see what happened.
Up the inside.
Just got a bit. I think it's a bit of net code there, Nick. He's going for a gap that's not quite sure if it was there, but one of the real sort of winners out of this was Josh Wilson. He's picked up a few places from all the incidents going on, and same with Kyle Kranstwick and Chris Foskett as well. Chris now made it 4 places from the start. He's up to 7th place. Good start from him. And I think, Cadmore's also, I think he's had another accident somewhere. We'll see if we can come to that at some stage, maybe when this battle calms down a little bit. But it's actually, really, Nick, we've got 25 laps to go. We've already had plenty of action. It was like it's the last lap as Wilson runs incredibly wide there.
Wilson getting really aggressive there. He's really pushing hard to try and hold on to the back of Foskett here, isn't he? And he's got the slipstream, so it's absolutely available to him if he wants to try and take it.
I think it's Josh Wilson timed this to perfection now. He's going to have to go around the outside here at the end of the straight, Nick. But as we know from our little drive, these cars have a lot of grip. He's slightly ahead. And can he get the turn in and get the car ahead? Maybe not. No, maybe not. Got Foskett again. Just got ahead and took the inside line there and prevented Josh Wilson from getting past him.
That was a brave move to try and make, but it looked to me like he just didn't have enough confidence turning it in on the outside there, and that just allowed Foskett to hold on to that inside line and say, you could have a go, you can have a look, but you're not having the place just yet. You stay back where you belong there, Wilson. Now, let's see if he can make it happen in the next few laps. Just looking forward in the field a little bit, Lamy has now got a 9/10 of a second gap ahead of Matt Lubscher, so that battle is still well up for grabs, and hopefully we will still see some more action from those guys. Mason behind them, just dropping back a little bit, and then we've got Rowlands and then Cochran behind. So we're going to keep watching this fight at the minute with Josh Wilson and Chris Foskett, because it is actually, we're going to just head over to Dobson, because it looks like Dobson is in a fantastic battle here with Barnett, I believe.
He is, yes, and he's got Ben Cullen joining in for company, only about half a second behind him, just coming into the 90, Nick, and Cullen potentially in a really good place there if he gets a good drive off 90, which it looks like he has, Nick. Now he can really tag along, which is what we were saying earlier ahead of the race, being able to utilise the slipstream and catching them at the right time. And look how Ben Cullen's really closed the gap up there. As I think that's Dobson just goes slightly wide, but Cullen's got the inside line there, Nick. Oh, they're trading places. Dobson goes to the inside where he's picked up the better slipstream, and with Cullen, and he's got the move done there, Nick.
That was incredibly tidy from these guys, going 3 wide there.
Ben Cullen's followed him through for good measure to pick up that place. So, in the space of a few hundred yards there, Nick, Sean Bennett's lost 2 places.
If you're Sean Barnett there, you must feel really helpless with 2 cars fighting out behind you, both of them that have got slipstream. You only hope that now Sean can hang on to the back of them and he can perhaps try and take the place back maybe on the next time they get to that straight. So let's see if Sean stays in contention here while Ben and John now continue to race it out ahead. Looking ahead in the field again, the gaps aren't really changing at the very front at the moment, so we're going to stick with Sean Barnett for the moment, because it looks like Edmund Webb is now coming in behind, and he might want a piece of the action, and we might have a 4-way battle on our hands if they start to slow each other down through fighting, Tim. So wow, yeah, some great stuff we've been seeing here. Now it looks to me like we've got a couple in the pits. So...
Yeah, Joe McCullen's just come into the pits there, Nick, looking to take maybe potentially an early pit stop. I don't remember seeing any damage on his car, so maybe just looking to come in, take early stop and take on a bit of fuel and look to get himself out of some clean air. The car, there's quite a bit of gap now between first place and the back of the grid. So it should put him into some clean air, Nick. Perhaps put some consistent laps down, but not having a slipstream could pay detriment where he's having to race down round by himself. And these guys are pulling each other along as we just watch there. We've got Sean Bennett and Dobson just behind him, but looking to take the inside line there, Nick. But now he's on the outside line as they come into the boot section, and they can't get the move done this time around.
That was incredibly close. They were side by side as they came out of outer loop, and it looked to me like they were going to stay that way, but it hasn't happened. As we got now coming up into the toe section, nice and tight around there for car number 4 of John Dobson. Looked to me like Sean was a little bit wider there than perhaps he'd want to be. And now look, we've got Edmund Webb behind, having a little look around, saying, "Oh yeah, I'm still here. Don't forget about me, guys. Like I still want a part of this fight as well." So Sean Barnett, could he actually be slowing down John Dobson here, and this be detrimental to his race, allowing Edmund Webb to potentially catch up and get round the pair of them, as we saw happen with with Ben Cullen, as he managed to sneak by. Ben Cullen now sprinting off into the distance.
I think Dobson's going to be watching Cullen, slowly getting away from Barnett, and he's going to be worried and concerned and wanting to get clear Sean Barnett as soon as possible. As Webb just having a little look up the inside there and showing his front nose coming into 90, but Webb's now in the key pole position here as they come into the S's, Nick. He's going to have the double toe here from the 2 cars ahead of him. Looks like he's going to get the move done here. He's going to go to the outside potentially, or is he going to fake it and take it to the inside now? As they now head along the back straight. He tucks it right on his gearbox.
Ooh,
but we've got Dobson that they're going to go 3 wide potentially. Oh, this is so close, but Webb there just backing out. However,
he's managed to get past Barnett, has he?
Yeah, he's not quite. I think Sean Barnett's just managed to hold on to that. No. And he's just managed to hold on to that place there, Nick. And Edmund Webb looked like he was in a great position and hasn't quite managed to get it done. And I think these 3 are going to be trading places quite a bit. I think we've got Roland's past Mason for pair position. There we go. We've got a replay of it.
It's just a P3.
This is for P3, Nick, and a textbook slipstream move done down the back straight. That's going to be the first of many that we see tonight.
Fantastic work there from Rollins, putting himself into a. Oh, who's that? Who got off there, dropping down?
That's Barnett. That's Dobson, I think.
Dobson.
That's John Dobson, Nick. I did spot from the timing sheets that Webb did seem to make a bit of ground and was getting past. It got past Sean Barnett. Let's have a look at what
on board here. So is he going to make a similar mistake to what Hay did? No. Oh, that's a blink for me there.
Ooh, he's just disappeared, and no, not too sure of it. Looks like maybe just as we experienced from our little drive out, Nick. It's quite easy to lose the rear end of the car where you've got the elevation change coming in there. So that's quite possibly what's happened to Dobson there. Which is good because we had a brilliant little freeway battle there between himself, Webb, and Sean Barnett. As I've just spotted, Sean Barnett's just got ahead of Edmund Webb again.
Oh, those guys are fighting well, aren't they? They've been pulling the same. Oh, look at that switchback almost there, and then he's going to go down the inside here. Is he going to be able to do it under braking? Not quite. I think they could be a lot tighter there, couldn't they?
Webb's jinxing left and right there, Nick, and he just can't seem to find his way past Sean Barnett. And like we said, we've got Ben Cullen ahead of him. He's pulled out an even larger gap now, Nick, and it's really cleared of him. So it's around about 5 seconds. So. Well, if Webb does manage to get past Barnett, I think they need to work together if they want to close up this gap to Ben Cullen.
I'm going to go over to Carl now. So Carl in the black and gold. They're defending from car number 3. That's James Cockram. So as they come into the pit straight now. So these guys are following on behind the Rollins and Mason battle. So if something should happen up ahead, there's every chance that Carl and James Cockram here will be able to catch up to those guys, and obviously we're going to have the slipstream for Cockram here, so let's see if we can get the move done on Carl as they come up the S's onto that straight, and we might even see a move ahead as well, because that battle up ahead is only 6/10, and this one we're watching here is 8/10. This is 6/10.
Yeah, he's closing on him, Nick. I'm just watching the gap come tumbling down. It's down to under a tenth. Here comes Cockram. Can he get the pass done? He's got the inside line here, Nick. Or could Carl run it round the outside and maintain? I mean, he doesn't like he can. He's tucked back in behind James Cockram. And that looks like James Cockram's got the move done on Carl Cranswick there.
Nice and comfortable down to shoot. He takes a nice, easy line down there. Carl is still close behind though, so this isn't over at all by any stretch of the imagination. Now, I believe Webb, who we were following a moment, has had an accident. It looks like he's now in the pit. So he was fighting with Sean previously, Sean Barnett, and it looked
very shallow line there, Nick. Ooh, he was taking an incredibly shallow line there, Nick. Not too sure why.
I think we couldn't see the car on his right, possibly. I think he was side by side for some. Because is there a blink here? You see in the distance another car? Look. So I think there might have been something we just missed there, possibly on our view, Tim. But nonetheless, we'll be able to perhaps watch that back again later from a different view. So we're going to go back to Cockram and Cranswick here, fighting it out down the pit straight. Let's just bear in mind that they were in this position, but flipped round on the previous lap. So there's every chance we're going to see them trade places again. So this being the battle for fifth that you're currently watching. So Rowlands and Mason ahead, also still fighting it out. There's a very close battle there as well. And we're going to watch Carl here. He's really close. He
was almost a bit too close there, Nick, where we were talking about it before the race, where he caught him too soon. And look, he isn't able to utilize the slipstream. It's just a pure drag race now. As they come down into the boot section, Nick and Cranswick on the inside, but they're going side by side here. And I think Carl's just got ahead there, Nick. And he's got defense, ever so defense, just covering off that inside line there. And he's got the move done. But I think next time around, I think we're probably going to see exactly the same thing, just flipped around.
That was identical, pretty much, to the last move, and just how they came into that last into that shoot corner was pretty much in line with, as Foskett had, Cockram had managed to do it on the previous lap. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on these guys, because I'm sure it'll stay interesting for the remainder of the race. With 19 laps to go and still a pit stop to be had by a lot of these guys, the order is going to change around a lot. So I think it's time we went and had a little look at Alan Broadhurst, the guy that we haven't really covered. He has had an accident, unfortunately, so that's the coverage that you're going to get. So that's him coming up toe, the right-hander, by the looks of it, and then he's just turned it around. And luckily, he's managed to keep it out of the wall. I spoke.
Curse the commentator. Spoke too soon, Nick. Way too soon there. And I think for good measures, I think he's had another go at the wall there as well, where he's just trying to stay off. He's obviously offline, just trying to keep out the other driver's way and recover the car. But I think possibly a note because the car, the front wind did seem to bend itself back in there. But we got the Cranswick Cockram battle ensues, and James Cockram's turn to try and overtake now. It looks like he's got him, Nick, but he's going to have to do the hard work to do here. We've got Foskett and Wilson going close in the background there as well. Josh Wilson, that's getting closer as well. Josh Wilson closing up the gap to Chris Foskett behind them, but Carl Cranswick lives to survive another lap in front.
Yeah, holds him off on that occasion. Looks like you said Cockram had to go around the outside that time, and it didn't look like it was really an advantageous maneuver he was going to get done down there. But he is still very close to the back of Cranswick now, so he might decide to have a little look in here. They're going to behave themselves as they come into the final section of the track now, so no dangerous moves into the hairpin. Looking at the field, we've still got Lamey having a strong race out in front, with Lucia dropping back about 1.7 now, so not looking like we're going to see much in the way of a fight amongst those first two. Possibly we'll have to wait until those pit stops start, and maybe then we'll start to see these guys shuffling around there. It looks to me like Ben Cullen is catching up to the back of Wilson at the moment, and Mason only 8/10 off the back of Chris Rowlands, which is probably where we're going to see a bit more of the action later on in this race. So we're now with Ben Cullen, and this amazing view of Ben Cullen that you can see here as we go up the S's is provided to us and made possible by trackcams22.com. Trackcams22.com provide all these angles so that we can bring you all the best footage
Nick,
on these live streams.
Sorry to cut across you there. This is going to go pretty wide now. Oh, down the end of the straight there. I'm not sure how this is going to end up. Wilson's got the inside line there. However, Ben Cullen, take your hat off there, sir.
That was incredibly brave. That absolute rocket ship of Ben Cullen up the middle.
Nicky just threw his keys in there and went for it.
Absolutely, it was incredibly brave, and then he seemed to just have such a confidence on the exit into the outer loop as they came out of that straight. So fair play to Ben for that one. Fantastic work, seeing him parting the sea, or so to speak, there as he went down the two of those drivers. Now, as they come up the toe section, looking pretty tidy here now. No real concerns here for Ben. It looks like he's starting to actually pull away a little bit from Wilson behind, possibly. So it doesn't look to me like he's particularly concerned about Josh Wilson in the blue and yellow car 91 there. Now, it looks to me like Sean Barnett, though, still fancies. Oh no, sorry, that's not Barnett behind, is it? Or,
no, that's not Nick. He's quite a bit. I think
it's Barnett. Sorry.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
but it's
sorry.
A bit further back. I think there's a back marker in the middle, possibly between the two of them, that we just got confused there. So there's Barnett, still trudging along. No one to fight with at the minute, though. So looking like Sean's all out on his own, no slipstream and no defending to worry about, really. So we're going to go back over to Chris Rowlands. So Chris Rowlands currently running in P3. He's got Will Mason behind to worry about, who's been slowly gaining on him, but the gap is only edging down a little bit at a time and not really managing to put too much pressure on Rowlands. Now,
it's surprising for me, that, Nick, because with the slipstream being so effective down the back straight, I'm slightly surprised that Mason hasn't been able to close that gap up a lot more and see battles like the ones we just experienced with Ben Cullen and Josh Wilson, and obviously the Cranswick Cochrane battle who we're just cutting to now. Worth mention, Ben Cullen's just sat the fastest lap of the race last time around at 1:36.6. A great lap from Ben, and obviously that slipstream really being able to really utilise that to put that sort of time in there, Nick.
Yeah, he's having a cracking race at the minute. Really good to see from Ben Cullen. Up 11 places, I believe, at the moment. Looking at the screen, I think maybe you just verify that I'm saying saying the right thing there. But okay, I'm hearing from Sean that it might be +7. But anyway, thank you very much to the live timing screens for that one. But going back to the battle at hand now, we're currently watching Ben again fighting for position with Chris Foskett. Is that Chris Foskett ahead of him now?
Yeah, it is. That's Foskett ahead of him.
He's going to get around him, isn't he? He looked like he was very slow up the S's there, Foskett. What's going on there? Ben's not really got a challenge here. He's already got the inside line, and it looks to me like now Foskett is going to get stuck behind whoever that is ahead of him in car double zero. Now heading to the
that's Clive Davis.
Cullen's got the inside and he's looking very comfortable with it as well. He's got about half a car length on Foskett, and that's the move done. Nice and simple. Oh no, I spoke too soon. Foskett looking like he wants to come back for another go. Cullen didn't quite get the exit that he wanted to, but it looks like up toe on the right-hander, he's more comfortable with a better exit than he had in the previous corner. So actually, another fantastic overtake from Cullen.
So Cranswick's managed to, him and Cochrane have just swapped places there, back and forth a couple of seconds ago. One to mention as well, Will Mason's managed to get past Chris Rowlands for third place. Great to see if we can get a replay of that one and see how Will managed to get that one done. And there we go. He's clearly listening. He's managed to utilise that slipstream, and he's got the done while ahead of the corner there, Nick.
That looked incredibly comfortable there, didn't it? And up the inside. And these guys aren't fighting too hard into the outer loop. It's they know for a fact that if they just hang on to the back of each other, they'll have their chance to have another go. So, yeah.
I think Cochrane's going to get the move done here, Nick. He's in prime position. He's closing, and I think he's Oh, he's looked like he had to lift out of it a little bit there. The gap was tumbling like a stone, and he just looks like he's just trying to milk every last little bit of slipstream he can out of Cranswick there. Cranswick's gone defensive to take the inside line, and he's holding on to that position really well.
Cockrum looks like he's got a better exit there, possibly.
Ooh.
He's got a smoother exit for
He
sure.
did,
Car
yeah.
getting right over there on the left, looking a bit shaky
caught a
in the
bit of
rear
the
end of
grog
that
there,
car.
Nick.
Yeah, absolutely. So the battle ensues. These guys are going to be going for it back and forth again on that straight a few more times, probably 14 more times by the looks of it, unless Ben Cullen manages to sneak up behind and poke his nose in where it's not welcome in this battle, possibly.
Yeah.
He's certainly been making places up and doing a fantastic job so far. So let's see if he can put some pressure on these guys, or maybe it'll be a case of Cockrum or Kerensik will dive into the pits to try and perform an undercut maneuver so that they're not stuck fighting each other and losing time to the likes of Cullen and then Foskett, who are not too far behind in the grand scheme of things.
No, Ben Cullen's managed to get past Chris Foskett somewhere off camera for P7, but as we found, Nick, from our little drive out, when you're battling, you know, with the car that's in front of you or behind you, we lost around about a second in terms of lap time, at least, you know, to a second and a half where we were battling away. So definitely seeing where a lot of these drivers are having, you know, really close-knit battles like this one we're currently seeing between Rowlands and Mason. Rowland's about 4 tenths of a second, however, that's already dropped to 3 tenths. Maybe a little bit too far back to get the move done this lap, but now he's close to the gap. He'll be looking to keep on maintain that gap. It's down to right about 1/4 of a second now between Mason and Rowland. And then next time around, looking to get the move done.
Hopefully, if Rowlands can keep it tidy now and stay in nice and tight behind Mason, it will be nice and easy for him to try that exact maneuver that we've seen so many times. We're like a broken record talking about that overtake now, aren't we?
Oh yeah,
every time on that back straight.
It's going to be a recurring theme the whole race long, that, Nick. I think
it was more fun when there was 4 cars into one. But
oh, definitely.
I'll still take a few more overtakes in this race. So 4 tenths separate these guys now. It looks like, is that a... Oh, I thought that was a sneaky trying to break the toe there, wasn't it, a little bit? I thought it was diving into the pit lane, but I was looking at the wrong bit of the track.
Now, Nick, they have got Kieran Fishlock ahead of them. He's around about 2.5 seconds ahead of them. You just see him in the distance there. I think it's going to be really interesting to see how they... Oh, someone spun on the entrance of the pit lane there, Nick. I could just see it off camera somewhere. I'm not sure. I think that's Nick
smoke in the background there. Yeah, definitely. I can see that as a slow car with possibly
we've got Drake Laney's come into the pits as well. I'm not sure how that's going to affect him. Hold on. Was that Laney spinning as he came into the pits?
We'll have to try and get the replay up
if
in
we
a minute.
can... Yeah, because Jerome Laney seems to have dropped a little bit further than what we were expecting. This Lee Aberdeen? No, he's got in okay. So
he's okay.
He's okay. It'd be good to see if we can get back to Jerome Laney and find out if it was him who spun on the pit entrance there. I think he looks like... Sure.
Yeah, it looked like some damage there, so it was Jerome Laney. I wonder if that's going to affect him much, given that he was already had a relatively commanding lead.
Here we go, Nick.
And he's just turned it round.
He's locked it up into braking, and then he's floored the throttle to try and flick it round again. And obviously, well, he's doing the Austin Powers 9,000 turn. You know, he was shuffling back and forth to try and get the car around. He's obviously knocked the rear wheel off there. It's obviously reminiscent of what's going on in the Suez Canal at the moment with that shipping container. So last time, last time around, Gavin Petty set the fastest lap of the race, going 1:36.5. First person to break into the 1:36.5s. He's down in 14th position currently, so he's managed to put in a nice little lap time there. Obviously, where the track's getting more rubbered in now, Nick. We're going to see these faster laps. You know, the fuel's starting to burn off as well. So it looks like we've got Chris Foskett in the pits as well now.
Let's not forget that Petty's normally one of the stronger drivers here, so to see him that far down the grid, I'm not sure what's happened to him to still be there.
Mason's going to have to defend here, Nick. This has got Rowlands right behind him, and we've got Kieran Fishlock just under a second in front of them. So I think Kieran Fishlock could play a large part in the story of what's going to happen over second and third place.
Well, hopefully Kieran will let these guys through, because Kieran's down in 16th at the moment, so he shouldn't really be getting involved in the fight between these two guys. There's going to be a perfect position for him to get out of the way in a minute, and that's on the next straight after they come up the right-hander of Toad.
Nick, he is getting away from them, ironically, though. He's actually, no, there we go. He's moved to one side there.
He's not
Let
getting
them
involved
through.
in this. That's the right thing to do there.
It's good to see. I'm just having a look. We've had Sean Barnett and obviously some mentioned Chris Foskett come into the pits as well to complete their lap. Their lap times to complete their mandatory pit stops, and everyone in front of Jerome Lamy has not pitted yet, so that's 8th place inclusive, all the way up to first place. Having said that, Chris Rowlands is in the pits here, and Will Mason, I think it was
Rowlands is in the pit lane, and then Cockram also in there as well.
Yeah, he's just come in, and Kieran Fixbox joined them as well.
Okay,
and look at third place though, Nick, and 4th place. We've got Carl Cranswick. He's managed to get his way up to 3rd, and Ben Cullen up 15 places currently. I know that would be slightly adjusted, obviously, because he hasn't taken his pit stop yet, but absolutely sterling drive here from Ben Cullen.
Nonetheless, if he continues to drive the way he is, then there's no reason to say that he can't maintain a really strong points finish here. Great drive from him so far. As for Lamy, I wonder how much that incident into the pit lane is going to affect his race. Now, if we know anything about Jerome Lamy, he's a bit of a demon, and he can really steam up the field, and it looked like he was maintaining a relatively comfortable gap to Loops behind him when he was still out on track. So hopefully that doesn't hurt his race too much. Speaking of races that have been a little bit hurt so far, we've got a few guys out. We've got Webb, Broadhurst, Cadmore and Hay, all of whom are out of this race and not with us at the moment. Shame for those guys. Hopefully we'll see them back racing harder in the next round, as we now watch a fantastic battle here between Sean Barnett and Patrick Bennett. This is for 10th place. It looks like Barnett's going to look to go up the outside here, but I don't think that's going to be quite enough at this point, with Patrick looking very comfortable on the inside. Both got nice clean exits out of there, but Sean Barnett managing to still hold on to the back of Patrick there. Brilliant stuff. Hopefully we'll get to see a lot more of this. Now, the top 4 have all dived into the pit lane now, Tim. That's Lubscher, Mason, Cranswick and Cullen. And that
Wilson's in as well. So we've got the top 5 in. So the last drivers not to take their pit stop. So this with 9 laps to go now. We've got a hive of activity there in the pit lane, Nick, as
Where is Lamy at the minute, and is he going to benefit from these guys all being in the pit lane at the moment? Here he comes into the 90 as he comes down the pit straight, and it looks to me like he's not managed to get past the other guys, has he? It looks like Luke's gotten out ahead of him, which means Lamy, now in 6th place, has got to fight through Ben Cullen, Carl Cranswick, Mason, Rowlands and Lubscher to get himself back up to the front of the grid.
Rowlands and Mason, here we go, Nick. Mason's he looks like he's ever slightly ahead. Can he get moved done round the outside into the loop? He can.
Absolutely fantastic work. We've seen it again, and it never ceases to amaze us. These guys just overtaking each other over and over again. Now we've got the motion lotion stops out the way. There's a final 9-lap sprint to the end to see these guys try and solidify themselves on the top of the grid to get as many points as possible. And I know for a fact that Chris Rowlands here will really want to hold on to that 3rd place and try and continue to establish himself in those podium positions as he has been previously.
Nick, I think the real winners of that round of pit stops were Carl Cranswick, up to 4th place, 4 places since his starting position, and also Ben Cullen. What a drive he's having. He's now in 15th place after the round of pit stops. However, we've got Foskett. He's just getting
Wilson
past.
here.
Oh, Wilson's running
going
around the outside.
He's looking pretty comfortable there. I don't think that was too much of an issue for Wilson. He's kept it nice and tidy, and now as they head into the last couple of corners, it'll be a case of Foskett trying to hold on to a sensible gap behind Wilson. Don't get too close, because what we don't want to see happen is him get right up the back of him in the S's and not be able to take advantage of the slipstream that you get into that back straight. So speaking of slipstream, it looks like we've got that fight happening again here, Tim, between Rowlands and Mason. When will it end?
I don't know. I think we're
In about
8 laps to go, Nick.
Yeah.
I think that's when it's going to end. These two trading places, lap by lap. However, Mason just managed to hold on to the place this time around again. We've got this is Cullen and Lamey. Jerome Lamey looking to make up after that position. However, Foskett's trying to run the outside of Wilson into the outer loop, and he's managed to keep it side by side. And looks like Foskett's going to be on the inside here. Nick, however, Wilson's still slightly ahead, and now that puts them on the inside, coming into so. And Wilson needs to be careful and not leave it too wide open, because he could end up losing the place. So if he tries to shut the door too quickly, we could have a bit of a disaster on our hands.
Here's Gavin Petty currently racing with that is John Dobson, that he's just managed to slip up the inside of there nice and comfortably. Gavin Petty just having a gentle cruise now, taking a few places back as we go back to Rowlands and Mason on the pit straight. We're going to actually have to go to Jerome, because it looks like Jerome's really challenging Cullen hard now. Again, not far behind the battle that we were just watching of Mason and Rowlands. Jerome Lamey wants that P1 back. Will he be able to get it in 7 laps? I don't think so, but he's going to be able to get as many positions as he can. Let's see what he can do.
He's dropped to around about 3 attempts, which is probably about ideal to get the time, the slipstream right, as we've got Mason and Rowlands here going to trade places. Rowlands has gone to the inside, but no, he's backed out of it there, Nick.
A lot of speed, didn't he? So I don't know if he pulled out a little bit too early and it just didn't work for him, or whether he had to lift for any reason. But I think it'll be a case of just trying to be sensible, isn't it? And it looks like he's got the move done on Cullen there. Cullen not putting up too much of a fight. They didn't end up going side by side into the outer loop like we have seen with Rowlands and Mason and some of the other guys. As we now just head back over to Foskett and Wilson, who are in exactly the same point of the track, are also having another side-by-side battle here as they head down into shoot. Wilson with the inside line, though. They've switched places, whereas Foskett was on the inside last time and Wilson managed to hold on to it. Fantastic work there. These guys are battling really hard. This is incredible stuff from Wilson and Foskett here. Great racing from every part of the grid at the moment.
Nick, we've got around about 3 battles close, really close on track at the moment. Obviously, got the Mason Rowlands battle, which we've covered quite a bit. Got the Lamey Cullen battle, which has got about half a second between them, and also got the Wilson Foskett battle. With the slipstream down the end of the back straights, and it's coming towards the last stage of the race now, I think it's almost worth holding on for the last lap of the race to position the car in front of you, and then get the move done. Because obviously what's happening is they're just trading places each lap. Pretty much we're seeing, with a lot of these battles, as we've seen all race long. So do you think maybe it might be wise for them just to leave it to all the last lap to get the move done? Or do you think the inner racer in them will just kick in and they'll still keep battling lap by lap?
I think that's it. I think if it was me, it takes a lot for me to say no. Just calm down and let it be. These guys have been, like you say, they've been back and forth trading these places every lap, and maybe the adrenaline rush. They just need another adrenaline kick every lap to keep themselves going. They won't be looking at how many laps are left to go. They'll just be focusing on how can I stay ahead of the guy that's giving me trouble right now. And it seems to be very much the same 2 pairs of cars every time that we're seeing having these fights now. I imagine that Lamey will now try and start to close that gap up to Cranswick, and that's Wilson.
Chris Foskett diving up the inside there, Nick. Can't quite get the move done, where didn't look like quite locked up, but he definitely backed out of it heavily there. And well, Josh Wilson lives to fight another day. Could have ended all in disaster there.
Josh Wilson, I think he'll be a bit knackered after this. The amount of defence that he's had to put on here up against Foskett has been quite admirable. As Foskett looking at the inside there, forcing Wilson just to try and defend the outside a little bit there, and they're still really close as they come into the penultimate corner. But we're going to go back over to Rollins and Mason because, as you can imagine, Tim, they're coming back up for another slipstream battle. Will we see them trade this time? Let's see as they come up the S's. The gap looks quite reasonable here. It looks like Rollins has possibly got that just time to perfection so that he gets the overtake done before they get too deep into the straight.
It's down to a 10th. Roland's going for the late dive. He's moved out of the slipstream. He's around about half a car length.
Yeah.
Alongside him.
The inside.
Oh, Mason running it round the outside of the outer loop there, Nick.
But Mason's going to have the inside line into shoot, though, and we've got the same fight going on here with Wilson. Look, Wilson's going to be on the outside with Foskett on the inside. Let's see how these guys look.
Chris Foskett got the move done there, Nick.
Yeah, much more comfortable than the fight ahead of him.
But Rollins managed to get I've just looked at some time screen. Rollins has definitely got the move done on Mason and pulled out already about half a second gap. But look at this battle. There's only a 10th separating these two, Nick. Absolutely brilliant fight. I mean, it's great racing from Josh Wilson, considering he never played a racing game in his life until December. And brought it just because he fancied to go on F1 2020. And here he is in the league on iRacing, putting an absolutely brilliant performance, Nick. For someone with so little experience, just in racing in general, is showing really great racecraft here tonight.
Absolutely fantastic work, and they've all been so clean through a lot of these overtake maneuvers and these side-by-side races that we've seen them happening. So a lot of respect between the drivers tonight, which is exactly what we like to see during these battles. So we're going to go to the pass that Roland's made on Mason, hopefully now. Let's see how this transpired. So he had the inside line on the outer loop there, and it looked to me like Mason just a little bit dropped back, and then let's see here, he just nice tidy line from Roland. So yeah, it doesn't really look like there was anything particularly complicated about that. He's just managed to tuck it in and get the job done under pressure. So well done there to Roland. Now we're back with the same maneuver, Tim.
Slightly ahead. I think he's got all the work to do round into the around the outside of the outer loop. However, Josh Wilson, take your hats off, sir. Brilliant move there. Getting the move done round the outside on Chris Foskett. Absolutely stunning move, Nick.
It's interesting because we've seen guys that have gone round the outside and seem to be made some really comfortable overtakes on that outer loop right-hander. But at other points, we've seen the inside line being more favourable for some guys. So it really must come down to personal driving style and choice, and perhaps just how much speed you're carrying into there and how much you're prepared to drop off on the straight to get a better exit out of the outer loop. So yeah, great work. And again, the racecraft that you mentioned a minute ago from these guys is just fantastic to see, giving each other plenty of room and nothing malicious happening out on the track. Now, Carl Cranswick has got Lamey for company, only 1 second behind him. Lamey's been clawing back time. I think that gap was actually about 2 seconds a few laps ago. So with 3 laps remaining, there could be a chance that Lamey managed to get himself back up into 4th, possibly behind Carl. We're now on board at the gearbox view of Carl Cranswick. You can see Lamey. He's going to be a bit too far back there, isn't he?
I think he's just out of the reach of the toe, Nick, behind Cranswick. So he's not quite at the stage here where he's able to utilise the toe and to really close that gap up. It looks like Foskett's got ahead of Wilson here, and it's just deja vu with these two.
So
Foskett exactly the same position. We've got Wilson on the outside. Can he do exactly the same into the outer loop again?
Yeah.
Not this time around.
So Foskett must have made a move further around the lap that we didn't see, because Wilson was ahead. We can perhaps go and try and have a look at that. I think Sean's got it ready for us lined up, and it absolutely has. That's out of the 90 by the looks of it, into the S's. It looks like Wilson had the worst exit of the two, and that's just allowed Foskett to sneak ahead. And
Wilson's going to have the slipstream though, Nick, and I think he must have come along. Well, just looking at our screens here, Nick, looks like they did sort of trade places, and obviously we saw them come alongside one another. But where we saw Wilson on the outside line coming into the outer loop, Wilson's going.
Here we go. Brave. Not seen this one before, have we?
No, somewhere different to commentate over, a different corner, Nick. But brilliant move on the brakes there by Josh Wilson.
It's almost refreshing, isn't it? So,
yeah. I hope we
Lamy's,
get to talk to these two after the race because they've had an absolutely brilliant battle.
Lamy's within half a second of Cranswick now, so I think it'll probably be a good idea to go over and have a look at that fight now. So here we are on board the car with Carl Cranswick as they enter the straight that we have been all too familiar with, and Lamy only 3/10 behind now. Which way is he going to look, or is he going to look at all, or will he just take it easy on this lap? Only 2 to go, so he's not got long to make it happen, but he's sticking it on the outside there, but he's still incredibly close to Cranswick. He's still managed to gain time, even though he was a little bit offline. And we're back again, Wilson and Foskett again.
Well, should we just record last bit of commentary, Nick, and just keep repeating it every single time and just play that out to save our voices, because it's exactly the same each time around from these two.
It'd make Sean's job easy, wouldn't it?
I think I'm just going to see these two in my sleep going past each other. It's all I'm going to have visions of for the next few days, Nick.
Absolutely. Now, let's get back to Lamy and Cranswick, because I really want to see Lamy get the move done, because he's on an absolute recovery drive after that pit lane incident that he had. Real shame that had to happen, as they now come into the penultimate bend before the final corner. Incredibly fast through there. It doesn't sound like they were lifting at all. And then
final lap, Nick.
Here. Final lap they're on to now, so it's make or break for Lamy. Is he going to try and move into the 90? No, he's just going to hold off.
He's backing out, Nick. You can hear the dipping engine out there. He's just backing out. He's positioning himself up. Ready. Carl's run really wide there when he's ringing the ratty edge off that car. And here we go. Up through the S's, Nick. Lamy goes right.
Not quite.
Has he caught him too soon, as we mentioned? No, this looks... He's got the inside line, Nick, also coming up to the outer loop. And that's just pure handspire. Couldn't Carl, maybe he's not quite behind him enough to dip back in and get the boost on the slipstream.
No, not at all. It looks like Lamy's got a nice comfortable exit there, and he's managed to keep Carl behind him. I think that is it, but we're going to go back to the straight again, because
here we go. Well, Josh Wilson's got all the work to do here. Take it round the outside. This is the last lap. However, as we've seen from Josh Wilson, it's not the only place he attempts to overtake on this track, Nick.
Picking up a bit of grass there as they come around the outer loop, but they're still incredibly close here. This is absolutely not over. This could come down to a super late braking maneuver, possibly into the hairpin or something, because we've got another straight coming up ahead.
Absolutely close.
They are not being careful anymore. There's nothing gentlemanly about this for the remainder. There's only half a lap left to go. Let's see if Wilson gets brave here. He's got enough room here, but I don't think...
No. Is he going to line him up, Nick?
He's got a better exit. He's got a quicker exit.
Can he do it? Can he run it round the outside? I don't think he can. He's going to have to go for a switchback here, Nick, if he's going to be able to do anything.
Come on, Josh.
And there he goes. We're all willing you on here, Josh. It's now full power through this penultimate corner. We forget to mention that Matt Laus is now our winner, and that's already crossed the line. This battle's going all the way to the line, Nick. With Chris Foskett, he's held on to it. Josh Wilson not being able to just come up with something on that last lap.
What a fantastic fight they gave us. An absolute show, and one to remember for this league. I think this will probably be, we'll probably have to count the overtakes. I don't know if maybe Sean's been keeping a tally in the background, but I'm sure there's I'm sure we're into the double figures of overtakes that we just
between those two alone,
between those drivers. Yeah, absolutely. With every lap pretty much having a slipstream overtake on that back straight. Well, fantastic work. So congratulations to Matt Loops, the bookie's favourite, as you said earlier, Tim. He's secured another win.
3 wins from 3, Nick.
That is brilliant work.
A maximum of 120 points now. Wow, it's going to take a lot to catch him as we reach the halfway point in the season now, Nick.
Jerome Lamy will be kicking himself because he was so commanding out in front in the initial parts of the race. If he'd stayed there, I don't think we would have spoken about him very much for the rest of the race. But the fact that we had to cover him climbing his way back up the field and eventually managing to get round Carl Cranswick, that was an absolutely great maneuver to see in the last lap. So. Great stuff. We'll get the results up on screen for you in just a moment for you to read at your leisure. But Tim, would you like to take us through the standings for this evening?
Yeah, so your Class 5 results, no surprise there. Matt Lowser, 3 wins from 3. Maximum 120 points for the championship. Chris Rowlands comes in 2nd place, and Will Mason to round out the podium in 3rd place. Jerome Lamy, a brilliant recovery drive after his incident entering the pit lane, that comes in 4th. Coles Cranswick, brilliant result for his first time out in the championship in 5th place. Ben Cullen, a brilliant drive from him, up 13 places from the starting position in 6th.